Hello, Lisa here. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. I am doing my full 2022 tarot deck collection update videos, and in my infinite wisdom, I decided to film them like all in the same weekend. So if you hear my voice going, that's why. I've been filming a lot. But you ever do that thing where you're like pulling a bunch of stuff down so that you can like do things, or like you're rearranging your room or something and it's total chaos? I just need the chaos to be over. So I'm filming it all so that I can put everything back on its nice wall racks. I'll insert some B-roll of what my wall racks look like that hold all my decks, but I really need everything back on the wall because it looks sparse as heck in here, and I am just like, it's weird. It's weird, y'all. So anyways, today we are doing my tarot decks from letters R through the first half of the T's. I have a lot in those letters. I've been doing my collection in alphabetical order because it just keeps me sane. So thank you and welcome. I'm going to dive right in. I have been doing kind of like little mini reviews of every deck as we go because I can't just show it to you. Like, I have to tell you about it, right? So that's what we're doing. We are starting off with a favorite of mine, the Rainbow Heart Tarot. I really love this, and I really want the smaller version you can get now, but it's so expensive. The shipping is insane, so I haven't been able to get it, or maybe I couldn't get it from her site, or there was some kind of issue. I can't remember. Anyway, I really like this deck. It's just kind of large, so I end up not using it as much as I want to. It's great for smaller spreads. It's so vibrant and pretty. I love it. I love it. This is what the backings look like. Oh, it's so gorgeous. I just kept us zoomed out. By the way, if you want to see what my whole table looks like, there's my flickering candle. See? Okay, back to zoomed in. This is really fun. It's got a bit of this sort of, this kind of 70s feel, but it's so colorful and groovy, but it's also very Rider-Waite-Smith. I see some hints of Thoth Tarot in here too, a little bit, just a little bit. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. There's something about the quality of the paint where I can sometimes see a texture, and it just makes me really happy. I don't really know how else to describe that, but this reads really well for me. It's very Rider-Waite-Smith, kind of clone-ish, but then you have cards like this that feel like Thoth. So it kind of feels like this beautiful blend of the two, and I really, really like it. I love this Four of Swords. I just feel like it's really easy to read. I love this Empress with all of her extra boobies. I do. I don't know. Like, I can't. I mean, it is what it is, right? I just really, really love. I love that Seven of Wands. I mean, I really love this deck. I really love it. And it's really clean and easy to see and read. And it's color. I'm a sucker for color. You guys, you've heard me say it a bazillion times over if you've been watching my channel for a bit. But I really like the colors in here. Love this Wheel of Fortune so much. I really like it, okay? I like it. I love the Rainbow Heart Tarot. Next up is the Rainbow Moon Tarot. Now, I really, really love this. I really do. However, Sam West keeps coming out with other decks, and I keep falling in love with each deck a little more than the other one. And she's got one in the works right now that I think I might like better than this one, but I really do like this one. It's got great diversity. It's funky. It's sort of gender. It plays with gender a bit. It plays with humans a bit. They sometimes look a little bit alien or a little bit elven. Oh man, no. I mean, I love this Lover's card so much. I really love this. I really love this. It's got some good diversity in it in a really fun, funky way. Like, it's kind of created its own new world, and I love the way that it does that. I like that we see like canes and you know, like, it's just got all kinds of different people and types of people, and I just like, look at that hermit. He's got 6 eyes, yo. But it's just cool. It's cool and it's funky. And I like it. But I really like Sam's art style. There's something about it. There's a type of quirkiness to it that seems to work really well for me. And the Rainbow Moon Tarot is such a delight. The classic Robin Wood Tarot. I really love this deck. I also have a full guidebook that is sold separately for this. I did a really deep dive on this deck. I think it's very, very worth having a copy. And I don't know if this is a deck that will stay in print long term. We did lose, sadly, Robin Wood not that long ago, I feel like. So this is one that I wouldn't want to part with, because I just don't know if it'll be easy to get years down the road, you know? And it's so well done. It's a real pagan-y, classic feeling Rider-Waite-Smith that is really easy to read, very people-y, very expressive. I freaking love this Wheel of Fortune, although a lot of people don't like this, but I love it so much. I think it shows the meanings of the tarot cards really well. It's just beautiful. This is one that was really familiar to me. I love this Judgment card. It really informed the way that I view Judgment in a lot of ways. But this is one that I've seen over and over again throughout the years. And back in the day when I was first reading tarot, a lot of my friends had a copy of this deck. I didn't back then, but a lot of my friends did. And so it's very familiar and kind of comforting. And it's got that fun kind of Celtic, pagan-y sort of vibe to it that I really enjoy. So, and Peggy embroidered me this bag just for this deck. So love that. I think it might be time for me to consider letting go of the Centennial. This was my favorite Rider-Waite-Smith tarot for a long time. But now that I have other decks that are more vibrant, that have this classic artwork on it, like the DeBry original RWS, I just don't really, and now it just kind of looks kind of drab to me. It doesn't look old and magical like it used to. It just looks kind of drab. I don't know what, I can't come up with another word. So this one's going in my maybe to be rehomed bin because I don't really feel like I need this anymore or that I'm particularly attached to it anymore. So I'm gonna consider letting this one go. So I have been doing that throughout this entire collection series. If you're new to this, if this is the first one you're watching, I've been kind of slowly trying to keep an eye on whether I want to keep certain decks or let them go as I've been going through. Okay, next up is the Sasseribito Tarot, and I have 2 copies of this deck. I have a full size. Now this is a later edition. I used to have an earlier edition of this deck that had glossy cardstock, but then I repurchased it so that I could get this beautiful matte edition, and no regrets. I love the Sasseribito. It reads really, really well for me. I love a lot of the interpretations of the cards that we get in this deck. It's a wonderful workhorse deck for me for client readings, and I just find it to be also a really empowering and healing deck. Really wonderful for self-care readings, for readings when people are recovering from a difficult time. Really good for self-love. Love that Nine of Cups. One of my favorites of all time. And I did get a lot of requests, you guys, to kind of assemble my perfect tarot deck from like all of my decks in my collection. And I did consider doing that as part of doing my whole collection. But my brain just can't seem to compartmentalize and like separate things like that without it feeling like every time I look at one, I'm like, this one's my favorite. But then I look at a different one, I'm like, that one's my favorite. And I feel like each one brings something different, and it's really hard for me to really truly pin it down that way. But I did do my favorite majors for self-worth in my Walking the Self-Worth Path video series. I'll try to remember to link that up in the cards for you so you can at least see that, because it does show some of my favorite major arcana cards. But anyway, I also have the Sasseribito in this tiny traveler version, and I do use this pretty regularly for bigger spreads. Love this for a Celtic cross. Oh my gosh, I just recently used it even for a Celtic cross for a client. I love the Celtic cross spread. This is also a linen cardstock, so it shuffles beautifully. And it's got kind of like a slightly tall, narrow shape to it. I really like it a lot. So this is great for on the go, and the shuffle is glorious. Definitely easier to shuffle if you have smaller hands or if the gilding hurts your hands. It's easy, it's lovely. If you don't have a copy of the Sasseribito, but you want one that's easy to shuffle or easy to carry around, this is such a good one. Comes in a little tuck box if I remember right, but I just made my own little custom mini pouch for it. So love that. Oh, the Shadowscapes. So I actually got my first copy of the Shadowscapes for my kids as a Mother's Day gift. And it's kind of funny. I just said that. And like Peggy asked me the other day, she's like, when you talk about the boys, do you say my kids or like, do you say Peggy's kids or do you say our kids? And I said, I think I say our kids, but I just realized, no, I say my kids, but it's just me by myself. Anyways, random. So I got my first copy, but it was a little bit small and hard to see the details on my original copy, which was the Llewellyn English edition. And then I was able to get my hands on this Czech edition of the deck, and then I was able to fully trim the cards. And so I took the gilding off, trimmed them down to just the artwork, and used a silver Sharpie to write what card it was on every card. And I love it now so much. It's a little easier to see the images, but I still have my original guidebook because the Czech edition only comes with, of course, a Czech guidebook. So, but the Shadowscapes is really, really, really beautiful. Oh my gosh. It's by Pumin Law. Stephanie Pumin Law is the artist. And it's a gorgeous, gorgeous deck. Very fantasy, very fae, very ethereal, just lovely. And I edged mine in a silver color. So really pretty. Love this deck. And it still makes me think of my kids and the fact that they gave me a tarot deck for Mother's Day. It was years and years ago, but still. Love it. The Shimmering Veil Tarot by Scylla Conway is such a gorgeous and beautiful intuitive deck. I love this deck so much. It reads really well. Scylla's artwork is incredible. If you want to hear me rave more about Scylla's work, then go watch my Oracle A to Z videos, because I talk about the multidimensional devas and the devas of creation and her Book of the Dead Oracle, all of which I have now, and they're all just breathtaking. And of course, you can really build some incredible readings and spreads using all of the decks. I'm still getting to know the devas. But the Book of the Dead is something that's unmatched in my collection. And this one is such an intuitive reader for me. I feel like when I use this, I get transported to another space, another time. I go to this kind of liminal space, and it's really powerful for that. I really enjoy reading and working with the Shimmering Veil Tarot. And I really love the guidebook as well. It's a beautiful, beautiful deck. Definitely recommend, and it's incredibly safe in my collection. The Sideways Tarot. Okay, so this is a majors only deck. It is in jeopardy. I am going to put it in the maybe pile to maybe consider finally rehoming it. I don't ever use it, but the perspective on it is so, so cool. But at the time I'm filming this, spoiler alert, if you have not seen my last Say Yes to the Deck and don't want to be spoiled, skip ahead a little bit until I'm done talking about this deck. But I recently purchased a deck as part of my Say Yes to the Deck that features a similar perspective where you're kind of in the card. I do think this is really, really, really cool, and as a majors only deck, it's pretty special, but I just don't read with majors only decks, because if I want to read with my major arcana only, I'll just pull out whatever deck I want to work with and use the majors. So these end up feeling too singular in their purpose, but gosh, it's really, really beautiful. Roxy's artwork is very vibrant and colorful. She's got a number of decks, and this Sideways Tarot is really cool because you can really sort of see yourself being the one experiencing whatever you're experiencing. And that is just, it's cool. It's really cool, but I just never ever use it as much as I want to. It just doesn't happen. So I think this is going to go in the to be considered for rehoming little pile that I'm building as I go through my collection. The Smoke, Ash, and Embers deck is totally safe. This is by the same creator, Stephanie Burrows and Adam Ohlers, that did the Oak, Ash, and Thorn Tarot, which I do love. This is all dragons all the time, and I am here for it. They feel very real, these dragons. They feel like they have a life and a spirit all their own. I love dragon energy. Dragon energy makes me think of Peggy, and that's really special to me personally. So I love having a dragon deck in my collection. I cannot wait until I can read with this deck next to my own Unicorn Tarot, to do like Peggy and me readings or something. Oh gosh, so good. Anyway, I love this. It's really beautiful. I haven't used it a ton. It feels like a bit of Peggy in my collection though, so it's really special that way to me. And it's so, so well done. It's the most beautiful dragon tarot deck I've ever seen. It's just gorgeous. And there are other ones out there, but this, she just, oh man, knocked it out of the park with this. And Adam's illustrations just bring it to life. And it's just, oh, it's so pretty. And it's in a dragony Peggy bag, because of course it is. Small, in case you're curious. So this is brand new to my collection, and I have not yet worked with it, but I'm really excited to have it. And it is the Somania Tarot. I'm so glad I scooped this up. Now, there is now a illustrated version of this deck in the works, but I really think this photographic version is extra special and worthwhile. Oh my gosh, it's so intense and so beautiful. I should have just backed this when it was on Kickstarter, but I hesitated and decided to wait, but it ended up having to come home with me because it's really powerful. It is a really, really powerful deck. I think mine might still be in order. Yeah, because I haven't really worked with it yet. Yeah, there's 15, 16, 17. Yeah, I haven't worked with it yet. I have flipped through it, and I have read a bunch of the guidebook that you can buy separately. And oh my gosh, it's so powerful. The creator of this deck really came at this deck to sort of illustrate. A lot of these photographs are tied to his experiences with sleep paralysis, which is not something I've had experience with. What I see here is a beautifully rendered tarot deck that sort of looks to the shadow a little bit, or looks to the intensity of the experiences that the tarot illustrates for us. And I just think it's a really powerful, moody deck, and I'm excited to have it. So we'll see how it fares long-term in my collection, but for now, I think I'm pretty excited to be able to have it as part of my collection. I keep saying collection. I can't get it out of my head. I'm just going to keep saying the same thing over and over again. Somnia Tarot is real pretty. Next up is the Spirit Keepers Tarot, the Revelations edition. Okay, so I have so many thoughts, and I don't know where to begin. I think this is going to be another deck that I simply collect. I just, it's so infinitely usable. And I had a first edition, like I have not used this version of it, and it's so beautiful. She's already now printing the next printing of this version of the deck with some slight changes, like very, very, very slight. It's essentially the same, just a different box, different backs. Anyway, okay, this contains anything and everything you could ever want in a tarot. It can feel a little overwhelming at times to work with because there's just so much and you can feel like you just need to soak it all in. I have used even her first edition out of the box with no issues, and this one is even more usable in that way. But it feels like the most like a spiritual tool of any of the tarot decks I've ever owned. Like the most like a sacred object, and it gives me a sort of reverence for it that just makes me hesitant to use it. Not because it's not usable, but just because I feel like I can't unless I'm coming at it with the right kind of energy or in the right state of mind or whatever. There's just so much in here and I want to know it all, and like I know I'm not alone in that. I feel like sometimes it's like I feel like I can't get the most out of it unless I'm, you know, getting into it all, and so it just sits and it doesn't get used. We'll see over time. But for now, I think I'm okay just owning it and having it as a piece of tarot history. But I want to know it more. You know, I want to feel more intimately acquainted with it, and I don't yet. But I do know, because of what has gone into the creation of this deck, that if I ever want to do spirit work, like spirit contact kind of work, this is probably the deck I'll use. Because I feel like it's hard-coded in to be sort of protected for that kind of work and used for that kind of work in a way, is my understanding. I could be getting that wrong, but it's a very powerful tool. It's just not one that I feel like using all the time, so it doesn't get used. But Peggy embroidered me a special Spirit Keepers tarot bag for it a long time ago. So yeah, the Star Seeker Tarot. I love this deck. Have I said that about every single one? Probably. This is such a beautiful tarot. I love it, love it, love it, love it. I love the feeling of it. I love the vibe of it, and I really, really enjoy the artwork so much. I've been using it a lot more lately and really enjoying that work. One of my favorite Nine of Cups cards of all time. And this is a very important card for me, so that can sell me a deck for sure. It's a beautiful deck. I love this Three of Pentacles as well, the way it's been imagined. It's so fun. Yeah, this one is still safe in my collection for sure. I get excited every time I look at it, so I do enjoy my work with it. And it's a vibe. It's a vibe. That's the Star Seeker Tarot. This is my first edition Star Tarot. This has changed since this edition came out, but my edition is hand cut and hand edged, and it's just real pretty. And there's a lot in the guidebook for this deck. It has a lot of Thoth in it. I feel it's more Thoth than it is Rider-Waite-Smith, but it's absolutely beautiful. It's another one kind of like the Mary L. Tarot, where I feel like it's just got a lot of depth and intensity in it. And so I don't work with it a lot. Gosh, I can't unsee the Thoth. It's got so much Thoth in it from my perspective. But it does, you can read it out of the box in a Rider-Waite-Smith fashion. But it has that Thothiness, you know, that I just now appreciate in a new way because I took time to study the Thoth. Like, I don't pretend that I studied it for a bit, got some stuff out of it for sure. This is so pretty. It's so beautiful. But the second edition came out matte and on a different kind of cardstock, and I don't want it. I want this one. I want my copy. And the guidebook, oh my gosh, talk about decks with incredible guidebooks. The Star Tarot guidebook is so, so good. It tells you why every single thing is on the card, why it's there, what the meaning is. It's fantastic. Next up is the Tarot of Curious Creatures. This is such a happy deck. This deck just makes me so freaking happy. I love it. This is by Chris Ann. I can look past the shady Hay House cardstock, but y'all, that cardstock like kind of warps. This one's actually not doing it, so maybe it's doing it a little bit, but not too bad. I love this deck. It is so quirky and full of personality and fun. It's a very chatty deck. If you want a deck that's just gonna tell you all about itself, it's this one. I mean, it brings so much sass and playfulness. It's just fun. It's very fun. It's a very weird deck, but it is a fun, weird deck. And it really, really, really comes to life in my hands in a way that no other tarot deck really does. It reads like a stinking dream. It's so good. It's so good. I love it. I love it. I love it. It's a favorite. So that is the Tarot of Curious Creatures by Chris Ann. Oh, my treasure, the Tarot of Delphi. I am so grateful to own this deck. It is absolutely beautiful. And this one really trumps so many things in my collection for just being full of beauty and fine art and wisdom. It has a lot of Greek myth in this deck, and I love that. That is kind of the point. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful. I'm much more inspired to work with this than I am the Mythic Tarot. It's just so gorgeous. I love this Nine of Cups. It's a spectacular deck. And I would much rather pull this out and work with it than some other decks that have fine art on them. And just so that I can really benefit from this beautiful, beautiful artwork. Oh, I love the High Priestess so much. I also love this garden card a lot. It's beautiful. There's so much to unpack. It is a gorgeous, gorgeous deck. Hopefully one day J.D. Hildegard Hinkle will reprint it. But she did just a beautiful job on it. And it is a very hard to find deck. I had it on my list for a very, very long time. And I'm so, so grateful that I ended up with a copy. Yeah, pretty darn spectacular. So that is the Tarot of Delphi. Very safe in my collection, not leaving ever, ever, ever. Next up is the Tarot of Feeling. So I snarked this from Peggy. She was given 2 copies of this deck, one with the meanings written on the back and one without. So I snarked the one that didn't have the meanings written on it. This is created by our very own Andy Taylor from the community here. It's a photographic deck, but she focused on finding cards that really show the emotion of each of these cards. And I just think that Andy did an incredible job. Like, that is 10 of Swords for reals. That is definitely 4 of Cups. Like, she really nailed these facial expressions and the moods of each card so well. I really, really like it. So I haven't worked with it yet. It's fairly new in my collection, but I just think she did a spectacular job. So I will have a link to this also down below, of course, for you to check out. But the Tarot of Feeling. And there's 2 different versions. Like I said, there's one that's got the meanings for each card written on the back, which is great if you're learning the tarot. And then she's got this version, which has this beautiful floral backing. Look at that 2 of Cups. Oh, it's so great. So that, and it's a poker size, which is always a really great, not always, but it's often a really great size for tarot, especially if you have smaller hands. Oh, look at me messing it up. Messing up the shuffle, yo. It's so nice. So yeah, that is the Tarot of Feeling. Really happy I have that in my collection. Next up is the Tarot of Light. This used to be called the Art of Love Tarot. And I love using this for relationship readings. I was watching a tarot reader on YouTube, and that's what got me really into this deck. The tarot reader on YouTube, her name is the Illest Illuminator. I don't know if she's still doing readings, but I really loved her channel. I loved watching her readings. I only watch them every once in a while. But I liked her approach, and she used to use this deck a ton. And I just got really familiar with it through her channel. And then I picked it up and I started using it for relationship readings, and it just does not fail me in that way. Sometimes I'm called to use this, and sometimes I'm called to use other decks. It just kind of depends on the vibe of the reading. And I plan to make a whole video about that, like my favorites for that purpose. But I really love this deck. It's got great keywords on it, in my opinion. And it does have a bit of a gentle focus. Like, it definitely feels a little more healing, a little more nurturing than some other decks. But I think it's really, really beautiful. And it is now on this new Blue Angel cardstock that's so lovely and luscious. It is thicker, though. I used to have it on the glossy cardstock, and I love it on this cardstock. So I repurchased it. Use it all the time. Next up is the Tarot of Mystical Moments. I adore this deck. There's a surreal kind of quality to this that I just think is so cool, and it reads really well. I really see the meanings of each card so distinctly in each image. I feel like it's really easy to read and to kind of play with the imagery. I did not get on with the Oracle deck of the same name, the Oracle of Mystical Moments, but I really love the tarot. And I like the gloss on it even. It just fits this deck somehow. This is so good for a King of Wands. I love it. I love it. But it is very dreamy and, again, kind of surreal and otherworldly, so that can throw some people off for sure, but I love the take on the tarot that I get from this deck. It just gives me new ways of looking at the cards. I love this Ten of Pentacles. So many cards in here that I love, but it is one of my favorite intuitive readers. So beautiful and a joy to work with. And there are male and female kings and a male and female emperor, and I have them all shuffled in, I believe. Yeah, I have them all shuffled in, and I like that. I like that. I don't do that kind of thing very often, but I did here, and I'm really glad I did. So that is the Tarot of Mystical Moments, still very safe in my collection. Next up is the Tarot of Abyss. This is a deck that I think is really, really, really well done, but that is not probably meant for me. This is going to go into my bin to be considered for rehoming. It's incredible, but y'all, me in color, I can't. There are two alternative swords cards, an alternative 3 of swords and 10 of swords, which a lot of people really, really love. I like the more original style. Yo, this is such a beautifully created, drawn deck. It's spectacular. It really is. But it's too monochromatic for me. If this was full color, I'd be in it all the time. All the time. But the lack of color ends up making the whole thing fall a little flat, even though it's absolutely beautiful. Anna's artwork it's everything. But I have her Oracle of Echoes, which is color, and I just don't think I can connect with this one quite the same. I mean, she does do a really beautiful job with age and different types of people and different faces and different situations. It's a really emotive deck. But yeah, I really just never reach for it. And I know it's because it just doesn't have the color that I need in my decks. So this one is a maybe to go away. We will see. I'm going to put it in the to be rehomed, in consideration to be rehomed pile. And this bag match is so perfect because it's not black and white. It's like black and cream or black and ivory. Yeah. Man, it's beautiful though. Next up is Tarot of the Alchemical Magnum Opus. I love this Robert M. Place deck. I don't use it a whole ton, but I love having a deck that's so completely focused in on alchemy. And this one is really special. The majors are actually named for their alchemical processes, and the minors pull in scenes and imagery from the alchemical tarot, but much more simplified and easy, in my opinion, to look at. I like that the alchemical processes are named, but they still got their major arcana number on it. So Greater Disillusion is the Tower card, right? That makes sense. Materia Prima, the prime material, is the Magician card. And it can really help you to learn alchemy, I think, and to wrap your head around it working with a deck like this. It's really special, and I like this so much more than the Alchemical Tarot. It's less busy, it's less overwhelming to look at. And I feel like I learn more from this and its little accompanying little white book than I do from that bigger Alchemical Tarot. But I have also read Robert M. Place's really big book all about alchemy, Neoplatonism, Hermeticism. It's a really, really good book, but this is all I want from his work as far as Alchemical Tarot. I love this deck. Yeah, so good. Up next is Tarot of the Crone. This is a deck that I want to love, and man, I got it. I traded an out-of-print deck for it because it is out of print. I don't know if this one's coming back or it is back or what. I don't know what edition this is. But I want to get along with this one better than I do. This is another Ellen Lorenzi Prince deck. So this is the same creator as the Dark Goddess Tarot. But I love calling for the Judgment card and the way that she's like holding a cloak. I mean, maybe I need to give it more time. I don't know. I don't feel like I'm going to be in a big rush. It's so abstract in so many of the cards. Oh, let's just read. So there's an 8 of Cups. Let's just see what it says. Because this is, I think, what always trips me up. Oh, that's right. There's these little poems. There is only her. She is all I have ever loved, all I have ever hoped to be. I give my heart to her. I vow that I'm hers forever. A figure stands with arms and legs akimbo, 8 red cuffs signifying commitment on her wrists and ankles. Though her limbs are bare, her face is shrouded, for her individual identity is not as important as what or whom she serves. This card signifies giving yourself without reservation to a specific cause. It is the call, the drive, and the willingness to enter into deeper relationship, whatever that relationship may hold. Through the 8 of Cups, you learn to value one path above all others, the path with heart. I don't know. It is really cool. I don't know. I'm not, no, this isn't at risk. I feel like this is the kind of thing that I could just pull and get a really cool reading out of just working with the guidebook. I just need to give it some more time to get play. I love the plain black backings. And I feel like this is the kind of deck that I will find more, that kind of ages like a fine wine in my collection in a way where like when I'm ready for it, when I want it, I'm going to really want it, you know? So Tarot of the Crone will be safe for now. Next up, we have Tarot of the Divine. You know, I love this tarot and the stories that it tells. I find this to be a really readable fairy tale based tarot, and I love the art style. I think it's really fun, but I don't ever read with this. So I'm wondering if its time is kind of past in my collection or not. Now there is a journal or something coming out that features this deck. I don't know what happened here because it's just been, it just seems like it's got a bit of a bow, but it's got this like linen cardstock. Yeah, it does have a bow. See? That's interesting. I don't remember noticing that before. I feel like you can see the Rider-Waite-Smith meaning on all the cards really clearly, but then there's also the stories to go along with it. But I actually think, oh man, Rapunzel in the Tower, Baba Yaga and the Nine of Wands. I don't know. I feel like this one sort of like quenches my thirst for a fairy tale based tarot, but then again, so does the Tarot of Enchantment. It might be time for me to let this go. I think I am going to put it in the to be considered to go pile. Because I also do have a fairy tale oracle that I really love. So I don't necessarily have to have a fairy tale tarot. And I do have the Forest of Enchantment to give me those fairy tale vibes. So this may go, this is up for consideration, which I wasn't expecting, but it is what it is. Next up is Tarot of the Enchanted Soul. This is new to my collection. It is so, so beautiful. I love it. It is massive. It will be difficult to shuffle because it's quite big, but it's really pretty. It's glossy and it has all the artwork, including the titles, all happen within this central area. And then you have this border that also has keywords. So this would be a really wonderful like training wheel style deck where you get to know what the meanings of the cards are. And when you're ready, you just chop those off. You trim the deck down to just the artwork. I really like the keywords on this. I enjoy having at least one deck in my collection that has keywords on the cards. And I think this is one of the prettiest ones I've seen in a long time. So it's really, really beautiful. Dreamy. I love how the elements feel very, you know, like they're in their element. There's a lot of blue in this deck, I will say. And the blue borders really sort of highlight that. But then you get to the wands and you get all those kind of colors, right? More reds and golds, you know. And then in the coins, you do get some good greens. So I don't think it's all going to look all the same on the table, but this is new enough that I need to spend more time with it to determine its place in my collection. But I do really think it's beautiful. So we shall see. We shall see. It kind of reminds me of what I wanted the good tarot to be in a way. I like that kind of art style, but this one really fits. So that is the Tarot of the Enchanted Soul. And then we have Tarot of the She. I love this deck so much. My copy is trimmed. I am tempted to retrim it the way that Dawn Michelle recently retrimmed her copy. This is all wild fae to me. It is very fae, very wild. I'm repeating myself, but that is definitely what this deck feels like. It helps me connect to the part of the fae realm that is, again, wild. I'm out of adjectives, you guys. It's really, really cool. I love the keywords. I love the keywords, especially on the quartz. Yeah, like, so here you have the gift of telling for the Dreamer Princess, which is the suit of air. And the Dancer Princess, which is the suit of water, gift of expression. Yeah, it's really, really good. I love that. But I am tempted to repurchase this and do a retrim, but I love it so much. And Emily Carding also has these really beautiful little like sort of poems for the minors. So you don't get like a full written description. You get this like little poem. It's really good. I love this deck. So that is the Tarot of the She. And the last one we're going to cover in today's video, we'll have one more installment after this to wrap up my collection, but the last one for this video is the Tarot of Vampires by Ian Daniels. This is relatively new to my collection, but it is such a powerful deck. It's incredible to read with. The guidebook is out of this world. It is so good. Oh my gosh, my like Lord of Skulls has like a dent in him. That's okay. I'm going to put him in the middle, so maybe he'll fix himself. Anyway, this is a gorgeous deck. I love the artwork. It's very dark. It's very gothic, but the actual readings and the guidebook are insane. They're so good. You get a lot of depth out of this deck. It is not this fluffy fly-by-night tarot. There's a lot of intention behind everything in these cards, and I think it's definitely worth a look. It can be a little macabre, and it's not for everybody. I think sometimes we can get swept up in thinking that it must be for us. I will say I didn't get this for the artwork initially. I really got it more for the guidebook. But do I think it's worth it just for the guidebook? I don't know if I would say that for sure. I mean, I'm sure like it's really good and I've learned a lot from it. But if I was not even a little bit interested in the cards, I don't know if I would have gotten it. Like, these aren't my favorite style. I don't tend to go for this gothic stuff very often, gothic style very often. But it really is effective for this deck, and it just gives it a whole mood and a whole vibe, and I really enjoy it. But yeah, like, that doesn't mean that everybody's going to enjoy it. So yeah, Tarot Vampires. Is that it? Oh yeah, that's it. That's it. So that is it for this segment of my 2022 tarot deck collection. Thank you so much for hanging out with me as I go A to Z through all of my decks. We have one more installment, and that will be the rest of the T's all the way through Z or Z in my collection. So I will see you in that video. In the meantime, thank you so much for hanging out with me. An extra big thank you goes out to the Unicorn fam for all of your tangible support of the channel. It really, really makes a difference. Thank you so much. And to everybody watching, thank you for your likes, your comments, your subscribes, all of that. You guys are incredible. I am so grateful for you. Thank you, thank you. And until the next time, may your magic always shine from the inside out. Bye!